dissect the presence of Israelites in Uganda and their linguistics, culture, and so many things. So in today's episode, I have a special visitor, and we are going to be discussing the linguistics of the Israelites from the ancient times to the Middle Ages and where we are right now. Enjoy this video. Yes, dear viewers, thank you for taking our time today. With me today, I have our usual suspect, our elder, Mr. Kakaire, and Omulangira. You know, it's important to add that. Abalangira, what is Abalangira in English? Okay, Abalangira is prince, and princess, Omumbeja. And okay, it is an insult, it is nearly an insult to not acknowledge them as Omulangira, i.e. prince, before you say their name. So we'll give that to you. Welcome back to Mugi's Corner, Mr. Kakaire. Today we are going to be discussing the linguistic characteristics or the linguistics, the languages that were spoken by Israelites from the ancient times to all through their migration, and talk us through their evolution up until where we are today, okay, and see if there is a relationship between the languages that were spoken by Israelites back in the days as well as today. So I want us to start on a note where we let us take a recap from our last video where we talked about we saw Queen Sheba visiting King Solomon, the king of Israel, and then she came back to Abyssinia, which is the land where she came from. She came back expecting a boy, you know. And then we saw that with time there was a migration of mass migration of the settlers in Abyssinia. Others migrated towards Western Africa, and others into Southern and Central Africa. Yeah, let us do a recap of that, which is, by the way, important to note. This forms basis. Oh, my documents flying all over the place. This forms basis of the Israelites, possibly who settled in Central Africa, Eastern Africa, as well as Southern Africa. So,
yeah, I'm happy to be here again. Thank the Almighty God for given me this chance and longer live. I've visited so many people taking off. Before we do anything, we should always respect them. Praise God, whatever gives you, but take without possession. And the previous discussions were very interesting and for me being another example of Israelite dynasty. I'm happy when we talk about Israel. Now, all of the recap of what we discussed earlier was important, not only to international viewers, but even to local citizens. And a civilized man should know about his history, where he can look at the future. Don't be there like a biological substance saying, I'm living. Why are you called Kakaire? Yes, that's very important. And civilization is a process of human beings living together, identifying ourselves in various aspects of knowledge and life. So, the first let me call you a facilitator. Why? You are facilitating the coming up of this information. Has really gone down. People rising up to understand about what it is. Israel has maintained its development as a nation, dating far back. We are good at recording this stuff. That's why we break it.
And on that note, okay, we are very great at preserving history, but in some instances we can be very weak in preserving history too, because we see this with influence, especially the Arabic influence, Latin influence, colonization. A lot of our history was whitewashed or was washed away. So it is important that we have such discussions with individuals like yourself, senior citizens, because let's be honest, you don't have much time left, okay? And if this knowledge is not documented, you may
Go with it.
go with it. Let's be honest.
That comment.
Yes. So I like to engage with people like you who know some history, who have a wealth of knowledge, so that we have it documented. And thank you so much, our viewers. Before we continue, I do request you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already. Leave a comment, share the message. We are spreading message, you know what I'm saying. And also, please, most importantly, support the channel. You know, you can do that by leaving a one-time super chat or super thanks, one-time donation to the channel. Also consider becoming a paying member by clicking the join button, okay? And hit me up on PayPal. All right, so we continue. So this subject is going to be based, like I introduced to you earlier. I want us to base it on the languages spoken by Israelites in the ancient times, during migration, as they you know, moved into different communities and mixed with the different other people who speak different languages. And also with the evolution of languages. All right. So we know that the ancient Israelites spoke Hebrew, or in this case we will call it original Hebrew. Then there came migration with Assyrian captivity, Babylonian captivity. We see Israelites moving into being taken into Assyria. Here they met with the people in Assyria who spoke different languages like Aramaic, okay, then obviously with the southern kingdom, which was taken captive into Babylon, they obviously adopted the languages spoken in Babylon, okay, and here we see the original Hebrew being diluted slowly by slowly. We see another version of Hebrew, okay. They call it Mishnaic Hebrew, which was you know, which was due to the influence of Aramaic. It developed from the Israelites mingling with the Assyrians who spoke Aramaic. All right. So then there is also modern Hebrew. Okay. So talk to us about the languages spoken by the Israelites in the ancient times, and how that came to be that with the mingling of different tribes or people who spoke a different language, there came another language.
Yeah. first and foremost, all the viewers, what's their language? Should somebody be able to interpret what is the language? There is a computer language, there is business, there is what's the language? That's the syntactic way of communication to express actions in the sound.
I want us, can you please repeat for us? It is very important.
Anyway, can you simplify it? You can just put signs there. And if you don't talk, shall somebody understand what you are saying?
Actually, there is a sign language. So here, Mr. Kakaire is helping us understand what a language is.
So, the language we are trying to talk about is that language which can be communicated in writing as well as by word of mouth. So the two. But why I emphasize that is that that's the language, the system which can keep down written history, either above what. People who have read ancient religious knowledge will tell you that formerly the Bibles were written in signs, and that's why fewer of them were understood by the human family. So now we are coming from the ancient Israelites. So that why we are gradual changes and creation of new languages coming up through the parental language. As the facilitator Odward has introduced, we have a longer way to go. Why? In the system of immigration comes by through so many channels. Either war, famine, family disagreements, what and what,
Slavery, as we see.
and the last thing I don't want to refer to because it affected us Africa and created USA.
And it is still affecting us because people are still migrating, you know.
So you are going, some are remaining. Those who go, you say, Basoga, Banyoro, Banyakitala, Bagisu, Acholi. By the way, the Acholis tell you that they are Israelites openly, and they avert that they come from
And they speak
different Nilotical language, but it has some words which have been immigrated to Bunyon and Uganda. The name of Chok, Winnie, Ukrato, what and what. Doesn't it have the two coronations of the Bantu and Nile? So now, there is the word syntax, the way states or utters a word. In Uganda, we will say Omusajja. In Musoga,
to mean man.
the same, but what everyone will say, that I'm talking my language. The Munyoro, the Munyankole, the one word having different approaches, but you cannot abuse me and you say it is empty. Even if I'm from Ankole, I will understand that you are belittling me. So we are trying to trace the development of Israeli old languages getting transformed, and creating tribes, nations, whatever. That should be clear to all of you and look back into themselves. Say we are modern. Okay, you are modern. But where are you coming from? So when we go back to Abyssinia, a woman trying to create dynasty there. From there, that was an empire which was oldest in Africa. By the time it collapsed, it was over 3,000 years ago. It had various kingdoms, and Chinto and Mumia during the Satan's cover and a lot of tribulation and famine, they started raising their house towards this side.
So it's important to kind of remind the people who may have not watched our previous video. We believe, or it is believed that Chintu is among the people who migrated from Abyssinia down towards.
In fact, he was the leader. That's why we are here. We have a bit because he came from the royal, one of the royal families. This was proved when the Haile Selassie, the emperor, visited Uganda, went to Arion, the king of Uganda, visited Ethiopia. When he visited, the emperor wanted to prove what in history had been going on, that all the kingdom was down in Africa, originated from there. He took King Mutesa to his brow of lions. That was the when a royal goes there, those lions couldn't make any noise. When Mutesa entered, King Haile Selassie told him, "You go and touch them." When he tried to touch them, every lion was bowing down. Emperor was surprised and confirmed that this was his blood. And asked for some names. He got Chintu, Dede, Chua. Those names are there. That complicated man decided to come and visit Uganda
To trace his blood. So
yes.
we see
when he visited here, King Mutesa gave him his royal seat. He said, "The judge has come." So we are blessed. The Baganda tried to say, they said, they said, "No, when your great grandfather comes, you have to give him maximum. Now we are sure of ourselves. We originate from there," confirming that we are Israelites.
And we see in this migration of tribes from Abyssinia, let's talk about those who settled first in the region of Western Uganda, specifically around Lake Albert, and those are the Batembuzi. From the Batembuzi come the Bachwezi. From the Bachwezi come the Banyoro, from whom we see tribes of Baganda, Bagisu, Basoga, Banyankore, who are believed to be Israelites today, but remember having their roots from Abyssinia.
From Abyssinia, Israel.
Exactly.
Don't forget that. Because we are trying to go mathematically what we call, let me leave that. Because we are not doing statistics. So, the Batemus here, the leader was Chief, and that's a name in Abyssinia. Mumia, who remained there, his brother. When he came here with a group of people, those people said Abatemus, people who came from where we don't.
And it's important to note that it is recorded in history that the Batembuzi had special powers, and they are said to have been demigods.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were said to be demigods. No. Angels are not only in the Israel. In the Bible, they say, wherever you are, the angel of God. These people came with the powers related to those powers. So for them, they thought they came with some gods from up. There we have Gabriel, we have Michael, we have Moon there and documented. So these powers were escorting us down. And by the way, when you look at Jesus was born in a crowd of cows. These people came with cows. They were not there. There, we are warriors of this fight. These people. So you can see this reality. Even if the echoes, the syntax of the language keeps on changing. Why do it come? These came, they were not hundreds of people. They meet this Bailo, or this Banyakitara, or Banyoro, here. They had to adapt their language so that they understand it. And this one. So you get 45% of our Kitu's language, and you get 65. You put it here, then you get Banyakitara. They come to Uganda,
Which is a different language from the original language spoken by the Bakembus.
And by the way, the language is created right. Now there you have Banyoro,
who speak a slightly different language from.
When they enter there, they meet the people here. They get the Runyoro of the Batembusi, mix it here, get to Baganda, you go to Bunyoro. There is no tribe which doesn't have a language. And if that tribe doesn't have a language, it is not actually. No.
So we know that languages continually change. New words and phrases are introduced, while other words and phrases die away. Okay. Also, pronunciation of certain words may change. So, talking about languages, so as people meet with other people in these different areas or where they settle, we see that there is intermarriage.
That's very, very, very important, even if you don't go very far.
As languages evolve, we see words and phrases being borrowed from other languages and are being fused into now a newly developed language. And hence, we see new tribes coming down. Like you say, the basis of a tribe is a language. Once there is no language, there is no tribe.
Indeed. And I will confirm that. For you, a man, chances of talking to your child is 20%, if not 10. You are either going to hunt, you are going to look for this, you are doing this. The mother is breastfeeding, is talking, is the one who teaches the child to talk. A dull woman will have a dull child. The intellect of man, the brain, is made up by the woman's what? Calories. Now, did these people carry women and married among themselves?
Likely not. They married within the tribes who settled in the regions where they migrated to.
So now, for us, we have remained with poor cultures that is Western looking, is like this, is like this, is like this. Whereas the cultures have changed drastically and mentality through motherhood. So these rights, we went on changing because of that. And the ancient Israelites were making sure that there is no intermarriage.
That is commanded in the Bible.
Yes, there is a reason. I've told you, and every viewer say it is the Israelites who first documented, and I've taught it somewhere. Somebody, I asked a question that which is the oldest documented bound document existing. People talked of this, that, Newton, what he said, even Socrates didn't, Thales didn't document the Greeks. They are the Israelites. The Bible, and the people were shouting, oh yeah. So that Bible developed so many things. People think about God is, what is there, politics is there, philosophy is there, public affairs. You read the Bible, you see what has happened, you see what is happening,
and what will happen in the future. You know, talking about preserving languages and cultures and traditions, it is commanded in the Bible by God to the Israelites to not intermarry. So do you think not being it is wrong on our part to have intermarried? Definitely it is, because if it was commanded by God and then the Israelites done differently, it is wrong, and that has contributed to the washing away of the languages, because if you don't intermarry, you are very likely to preserve your language. But we see languages developing, for example, very close languages, and hence giving rise to new tribes. Let's bring the example back home to the Banyoro and Batoro, who speak a very close dialect. You know, the difference is in pronunciation of words.
Similar, but everyone wants to get fight through echoes.
Look at the Bachiga and the Banyankos. You know, it is almost the same language.
Look what Bahima and the Batusi. People think that the Batusi are not Bahima. It was immigration there. They talk.
And how did
but
they become?
The changes.
How did the Batusi and the Bahima become a completely two different, you know, tribe or group of people?
This one was when they immigrated, they crossed the river Tuesday. When they reached there, where are you coming from? They said, they were called the Batusi.
Because they crossed the river Tuesday. But they are the same people.
The same people. That's the same people from here, Mubende. We go there again. You find the names for us. We have the name Mutes, Kates, Chua, Kaikara, which is Kakai. Those names are in Rwanda by Batusi. They are in Ankole. They are in Bunyoro. How do you differentiate us? And when we go back, you say we are different. So we come back to the languages. These languages will keep on changing. Others were tarnished through just forced language brought us. The Muzungu came with the Muzungu. Now your younger generation, you want your kids to start talking English even from before going to nursery. You think if one speaks Muzungu, he's educated, he's civilized. The Arab came with the Swahili.
No, Swahili, the language, developed as a result of the Arab coming speaking Arabic, met with settlers, or the people who settled, who were, you know, when we talk about settlers,
the Swahili is in
let us say the people who lived at the coast of East Africa. So due to mixing this language, Arabic and the native languages,
A new language.
A new language, Swahili, came up. So, talking about languages continuing to evolve and new tribes being, coming up, let us bring the example home in Busoga. We see the Basoga are further dividing themselves into Basiki, or are further subdivided into Basiki, who speak slightly different from the Balamoji, but all are Basoga. Now imagine what may happen in the next 2,000 or 5,000 years. Our descendants in the future may identify themselves as not Basoga, but as separately as Balamoji, and then that may become a new tribe. Same as Basiki, because they are all Basoga right now, but it is possible in the future they may separate themselves and disassociate themselves completely from the Basoga today. So we see languages evolving, giving rise to new tribes. It is here today.
And it is, as you have said, it is continuing. But Germany talked about global society. That will develop domestically, but everyone will want to be understood by the wider world. There is something which is dying, but which is remaining the principle is tribalism. From a tribe you go to a clan, to a homestead. We, the Israelites, nowadays, if we talk about the but we still maintain where did we come from? What caused that? Where are we? So that somewhere we are Barangira, Ito, what you go to Zulu, say what and what, we continue. But blood is thicker than what? Water. There are things through sociology and the type of which I cannot clarify, which remain in one's mentality, which is not taught as true. Because, for example, somebody can get a girl and they form a family, wife and husband. They are a university teaching you how to manage your wife.
I'm not aware of that.
So we reserve that. So this one also. And man, as the first highest, God made the brain of man the first intoxicated type of computer, which is storage, permanent. Where he wants you to avoid that evil, to forget. But for us, it's still keeping us away. I remember that you go to church in Kenya, in form of this. But this becomes cultural discussion. When you talk a lot about that, they say tribalism or what, talk about nationalities. I see somebody, what is the makeup of a nation? But is it taught in under that Kenya tribe and forget this? So we come back to syntax of transformation of our language from Amharic, from where through taken it to as slavery, what and what. Yes, that was God's arrangement. Because even ourselves, Abraham, the evils, until they servicing again. Homosexuality, isn't it coming up? But can we talk that it's used to come, so let us justify it?
No, we cannot.
Can we agree that we are starting to destroy ourselves?
Yes, for sure, by bringing back
I expect
evil.
that answer.
Yes.
So that's a destruction. When things are very many, and this rate is very high. Elephants are few, they live longer. Goats are always many, they die at the end. So, human beings, so the chances of even intellectual self-destruction has increased. For us, what I think we should advocate for is improvement of moral thinking. Let nationalities suppress international suppress. People are fighting just for the sake of self-actualization. We are big Americans, we are big Russians, we are big Chinese, we are big what. But if you die, who was proclaimed that?
And this has not just started. Let's let us go back a little bit in time. It is documented in history. The Israelites migrated downwards from northeastern Africa, which is the land of Israel today, down towards Abyssinia. Okay, so they met people there who spoke a different language. Okay, is this can this be used, the migration? Obviously, the Israelites spoke Hebrew. Can this be used to justify the connection of ancient languages which were spoken in the regions of Abyssinia? For example, Tigrinya, there is Amharic, and it's important to make a distinction between Aramaic, the language which was spoken by the Assyrians in Assyria, and Amharic, the language which was spoken in Abyssinia, okay, present-day Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Sudan. Okay, so we see the Israelites speaking Hebrew, migrating downwards to Abyssinia. And then, as time passed on, we see Arabs also seeking refuge in Abyssinia. So, can this reality or this history of those migration of the two people, the Israelites and the Arabs, be used to justify the connection of languages like Tigrinya and Amharic? Because, let's be honest, these languages are close to Arabic. Okay, the languages I'm talking about is Tigrinya and Amharic are close to Hebrew, also Arabic. So,
Yeah, in fact, there is no distinction in blood between Arabs and Israelites. The word Arab, a certain place in Saudi Arabia, before during Muhammad's reign. The original Arabic in ancient history was it there? Can we remind ourselves that this all originated from Abraham and their brothers, what and what? Now those who went where, developed the languages, these are remaining. And by the way, they are physical scripture. Royals here. You confirm a royal with blue eyes.
I can see you have blue eyes yourself.
And those that, if they meet there and they associate and get a neutral language, this is easy to learn Arabic, and an Arab can learn Israeli and become back. Because they are the same as saying, as a Sokan, Uganda, being so Bunyoro, Interkan region of Daura. From Chintu, Watembuzi come to Batwez and Daura, Wamara, Agoro, what and what. You find That language there is synonymous up to the language in Rwanda, in South Africa, the Bazulu, the structures, the what long spears, being hot tempers, and Arab, and we the Israelites, we are hot tempers.
So, we have seen that due to the domination, or what's the word to use? Influence of foreign languages and foreign people. For example, the Arabs, for example, the Latins, can cause new languages to come up. You know. However, there has been groups of people who have managed to preserve their language. Like I mentioned, Tigrinya and Amharic. The people in Eritrea today and Ethiopia today still speak these languages and date back as early as the 9th century, possibly earlier than the 9th century. However, we see that Israelites today, they haven't been able to preserve their languages. Yeah. Hebrew too has been preserved, but new languages have come up. Okay.
Yes, with Abyssinia or Ethiopia, you know that it is one of the few countries in the world which had not been colonized for the past 2,500 years. So their kingdoms, what and what, remained ethnic, so that enabled those languages. Now that the multiple societies are entering there, give it only 50 years, the new generation will not be interested in that non-scientific language. They will learn English, they will learn French, they will learn what they talk, and diluted what, and it will start losing public voice. It will have to be a domestic family what language. And the next step will be diluted. So that's a very big factor. That kingdom of language, which was our rival home, had not been taken over. There was no colonialism. That emperor, there was a certain emperor who went to exile and came back. So it was the longer lasting type of empire here. Next to that of Aztecs in North America, which was probably just destroyed by when Great Britain. So that was the basis of those languages. And here, the oldest languages, you hear the Vaquez when they are on one of the head. Do they utter the ordinary language? No. They talk. And this speaking has distorted people's mentality. Those people, when they come through the power of their spirits, they talk the language which was being spoken by them.
Okay. Now, on that note, the expression of languages or phrases in written text, okay, that has also been affected greatly. However, in these languages, Tigrinya as well as Amharic, text words are still expressed the same way, i.e. they use a different style of writing or alphabet, if I may use that word to describe what I'm talking about. Tigrinya is a different language written in a special way, kind of like the Indians speak their language and also write a different way. So do the Chinese. Hebrew uses a different alphabet to write Hebrew language. What do you think is the reason for many of the new languages that have developed to be written in Latin.
Those nationalities or groups of people which started even ourselves by the time that we came here, Baganda, have reached a level of saying, now, when I put this sign, what does it mean?
It represents a certain expression or a certain phrase.
Okay. So these old empires had stayed for years and years. The system of storing information, communicating to the public. Egypt taught the Israelites to write. The word paper comes from the word papyrus. Those were the first people who get silent, start writing. Because the civilization of Egypt and the civilization of Mesopotamia is collaborative. People were moving like this. Those people were putting on stones. The person there says this and this means this, this and this means this.
And we see a lot of text in the caves in Egypt, a lot of pictures to represent events or history.
In fact, people are more interested to research a lot in Egypt, information from the pyramids. But who constructed those pyramids? They were our great-grandfathers.
The people who lived in Egypt at the time of
they are ourselves who entered there through Yusuf. Later, they were subjected to that torture. So they adopted the system of writing done there. They went to that. They stayed there for 450 years, serving the Egyptians. And in fact, the Egyptians don't want to be called Arabs. They say we are Egyptians.
It's important to say that the conscious Egyptians don't want to be called Arabs, but I can tell you that many Egyptians would prefer to be called Arabs today.
I reserve that. So you can see that now communication starts very far back. We go with taking us into Israel and what to read the information there with Syria, what as you have recapitulated about it. Now we start coming down. Which means we are worldwide. Now recently in Germany, how many Jews who were there, who died, who white, and we are still there. With our knowledge. USA, we are managing with our knowledge. So, coming to Uganda, our civilization strongly is based on Israel's elements.
So we see that colonization and dominance can lead to certain elements being wiped out. For example, writing. I strongly believe that the Batrese dynasty, it was a very strong dynasty which existed for thousands of years. They should have developed a different style of writing, but due to colonization, dominance, influence from alien tribes and people, that causes that. And also, don't forget that as the colonizers came, they forced many of our people to abandon their local languages.
That's a big we want to and you can control somebody principles who speak and communicate.
So they introduced Latin and was adopted by our people as the official means of communication and expression of text and everything.
Indeed. Even in Rome, when it took over us during the era of Jesus, yes, Esperia would register and say it is a citizen, a Roman citizen, because it has bought a citizenship. Jesus was crucified because he did declare himself Roman, so he had to go on the cross. Killing somebody on the cross was part of the firing squad for non-Roman. So, those also about 400 years, the historians, Nero ended up destroying the temple, Emperor Nero, and we had to this part. Some of us died in inside area. So you can see how Israelites this past people those who came through Abyssinia, those who came through Great Britain. You know that there was a Jew governor here, Sandro Cohen.
I didn't know
He
this.
was a Jew, he was an Israelite. You know that there was a prime minister in Great Britain. Can you go and prove that the dynasty of United Kingdom are Germans from the House of Hanover came with their languages and they related below the old English to themselves. So for us here also, our language has remained with scanty words.
Diluted.
Thoroughly.
So, I would like to ask you a question. Having looked at all these different things that we have discussed, languages, how they have been diluted, how new languages have evolved, and some that have been preserved, is there a noticeable similarity between languages spoken by ancient Israelites and the languages spoken today, especially those in Uganda?
That's very complicated, but it is easy. People who have read archaeology or ancient history or what have researched a lot. Because even to get those old books, somebody to add the echoes in because the word modernization, you find very few people who want to get the old system of things. Wow. Those are primitive people. I don't know what the word primitive comes from, but something. So if you tell them to be primitive, let's see, yes, primitive capacity. By then I was civilized, very civilized in my own country. So, now that Israel is recovered, you see it revived itself in the doing a lot of research, come up with the whole fights. Those I call them fights, they are not even war. You wake up somebody to go and remember, start what is the what. When in history, I remind you about Goliath and David. Small boy comes the big man is in there. You start saying, if you beat me, you will leave me for ages. Say, why? Jokingly, and this boy fired the stone and what, and the captain. Some of the look gave me what and what. You start from there. These are the other side and these people are this side.
So, talking about languages, we see Bantu Israelites, okay?
Yes.
And you can see that there are expressions or phrases like the suffix "ntu" that has been preserved among the Bantu languages, among the different tribes. That "ntu" is used to mean a person. Okay? Do we see other phrases similar to "ntu"? You know, something that shows an element of similarity or uniformity. Do we see this in the different languages spoken by Israelites today, especially here in Uganda?
There is and this one is common from the Abaruya, Bagisu, what and what, up to Congo.
So that is another, and "ntu" is a suffix, "omu" is a prefix, and you're telling us that this is common in these tribes.
From West Africa, course here, these, the Muslim call them because they are
River Nile, they call it River Nile.
they have very tough land. But nobody has ever, even themselves, made their research why they are language. What they say they are Israelites from Africa. For us, we are that. But you see, a clan which has been in leadership, maintaining history.
Because he's able to suppress the rest.
Even if you make a
He's a
reference,
dominant force.
this one, this. For us, we start with change. You know, we go up over easy. We come to our big home, over this we come to Uganda, Katochi Mera, we say this is the 25th generation, what and what. But our vital family cannot be changed because we have no landscapes, cornerstones.
With that said, it has been a pleasure having you today on this episode right here on Mugi's Corner. And to you, the viewers, thank you so much for keeping it right here and always supporting us on the channel. Please keep supporting, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, Mr. Kakaide, and I think this is a wrap for today's video. Goodbye.